Joining me now is Agnenette Levy, host at the Law and Crime Network, who has been closely following the story. Agnenette, good to see you. So a lot of people speculating about a possible motive. Do we know anything?
You know, Dan, we really don't. There's a lot of talk in that small town down in Kentucky and a lot of whispering about the federal lawsuit that you mentioned involving one of the deputies who worked for Mickey Stines. His name was Ben Fields. He's actually serving some prison time right now for taking a woman into Judge Mullins's chambers and having her perform sex acts on him in exchange for not having to pay for GPS monitoring at her home. She didn't want to go back to the jail. The sheriff had been deposed in that lawsuit just a few days before, in the days, in about a week or so leading up to the shooting. So there's a lot of talk about that and whether or not that played into his state of mind that day, but also that phone call that he placed to his daughter from the judge's cell phone. There was a lot of talk that her number was stored in the judge's phone, but we found out from Kentucky State Police recently that the sheriff had to actually dial his daughter's number. It was not stored in the telephone. So that was an interesting new piece of information that we learned.
So Stines allegedly told police, and this came out at a hearing last month, quote, "They're trying to kidnap my wife and kid," is one of the things that he said. We don't know what that meant?
We don't know what that meant. And he said that to law enforcement when they came to get him. And he also said, just treat me fairly. So we still don't know what that meant. I spoke to Jeremy Bartley and Carrie Bartley, the attorneys representing Mickey Stines today. And we still don't have any clarification from them about what that meant. There was a lot of speculation that maybe something was going on, you know, and this is speculation, between the judge and the 17-year-old daughter of Sheriff Stines. And they said, look, we've never said that and we're not saying that now. But they told me today that they think that that federal lawsuit will add some context to all of this. And they said it's more than can be explained in a soundbite, but they wouldn't offer us more details. They said they are still investigating and waiting for the discovery in the case. But it's a really crazy story because these are two men who were friends for many years. For many, many years. And as you mentioned earlier, they had lunch that very day. And
here is, again, from the hearing last month. This is the detective testifying about that lunch meeting, number 2.
There was nothing unusual that had arisen during that luncheon.
I was told that the judge made a statement to Mickey about, do we need to meet private in my chambers? That's all I was told.
Do you know the context of what the conversation was before that they would need to discuss in chambers?
I do not.
I mean, there has to be something here, Agnenette. I mean, there has to have been, you know, even the defense is saying it was an extremely emotional moment, right? So something emotional has to have happened. And they've talked a lot about there's this extreme emotional disturbance, and there's this wording in the statute for murder that if a person can put themselves in the person's position and envision themselves being in that position, they may not be guilty of murder. So they're really aiming, it seems like, for a manslaughter conviction here. And they focus a lot on Mickey Stines' state of mind and the belief that his daughter and his wife may have been in some type of imminent danger. And so I think that's going to be a main focus that you see here. They're not showing all of their cards or telling us what Mickey Stines has told them. If only we had audio to go with that video that they showed. And unfortunately we don't, but it makes me just go back, you know, Dan, I go to this thought of why was Ben Fields, the deputy of Mickey Stines, taking this woman to Judge Mullins's courtroom, or to his chambers to have sex with this woman? We really don't know. There are so many questions in this case that we still don't have answers to. Agnenette Levy, as always, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.